Shaping India's fintech future, powered by Mastercard, partnered by Moneycontrol.
Hi, I'm Gautam Srinivasan here at the Global FinTech Fest 2024, where money truly is in motion. The environment is buzzing with a lot of the action. It's testament to the global payments revolution that has taken place. And of course, India is at the forefront of it. And to the credit of rapid technological advancements, changing consumer behavior, and of course, strong government support, we've seen this payments revolution grow exponentially from $300 billion in 2018 to $3.6 trillion in 2024. Of course, we are in the age of making commerce smarter, but to find out the contours of how that's happening, I'm joined by a special guest. Gautam Aggarwal is here, Division President for South Asia at Mastercard. He's going to tell us a lot more about how commerce is being made smarter in this digital age. Gautam, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Gautam. Thanks for having me.
Now, Gautam, as I was explaining to our viewers, this rapid evolution of the payments ecosystem, the revolution that we have seen pan across, given your vast experience, what's your bird's eye view reading of this payments and fintech revolution that is happening?
I think firstly, I'll say what we're experiencing in India is genuinely unique. I've lived 20 years in the US, 5 in Singapore. In those countries, payments have existed for a long time, digital payments. It started with cards, it moved into wallets, and now some digital form factor. India, the journey has been a little bit different. What we are seeing in India is it's almost they found a user for every use case. The analogy I gave is a train analogy. There is a fast speed train, like a Shinkansen. There is a locomotive, slow locomotive. There is metro trains. All of these things qualify as trains, but the use cases are very different. You can't use a local train for a long distance journey. You can't use a long distance train for a local train journey, like kind of a journey. So that's what we are seeing happen in India in payments. There is a use case for cash. There is a use case for cards. There is a use case for UPI. There is a use case for wallets and any other future form factor that may exist. The fact that we've gone from a 350 odd billion digital
300 billion in
350 billion in 18, and now it's 3.6 trillion. Exactly. That is a staggering number. You look at any other country, I have not seen that kind of growth in any country. That's only possible because the innovation that is happening in this country, the consumer mindset, and more importantly, what you touched upon, the regulator in India. I would say I have to give full credit to the regulator in India. They are the ones that are actually making sure that innovation happens at a speed in this country that no other country has seen that.
And we have just scratched the surface, as you say. Now, I want to understand the role of Mastercard in driving this fintech revolution forward in India. What would you have to say?
To give you some numbers, we've been in this country for 40 years. A lot of people don't realize that. We have around about 9,000 people in India. In the last 2 years alone, we've committed $2 billion worth of investments in this country. So we've been committed to the country for a long, long time. And now, if you look at the kind of products that we've launched, traditionally we were in the card space, a physical card. Now we have a Soundbox in India. We are supporting QR technologies. We have now gone take a step further. We've gone to making sure that the segments that we're targeting are inclusive. So not just the consumer that is an urban consumer. We've gone to the rural consumer, and then we have a lot of initiatives with CIT as an organization that we have partnered with. We were educating small traders where they understand how to adopt digital payments, but larger digital technologies, for them to grow their businesses.
And it's great to see an established player like Mastercard playing such a leading role in not just making commerce smarter, but also more inclusive. But you've got an action-packed lineup of announcements here at the event. I want you to take us through, one of the exciting announcements that you're coming up with, which is the partnership with Boat, because it opens up a whole new avenue of wearables and their roles in this payments revolution.
The consumer of today, or maybe the consumer of the past now, they were used to using something for access to payments, as an example, which is a card or a UPI handle through a phone or whatever. The consumer of the future, and somewhat that is already happening today. When I say future, I mean 10 to 12 months from now. They're using something called a tokenized device today, right? They're using a device, but it's a digital form factor of something that was in the physical space before. But the consumer that is going to be far few in the future, right? Which is not the consumer of tomorrow, but the consumer of the future. They are going to be looking at something that's all interlinked. When you're going through, for example, a turnstile at a metro station, right? you don't want to be stopped to doing a payment.
You want it seamless.
You just want seamless, right? What can make it seamless is when payments is actually almost an afterthought. It's embedded in your overall actions for the day. So what we are looking at wearables is the future where you should not be stopped for doing your digital activities. Payments is one example of that. In the future, there'll be other activities, even shopping, for example. We have some demos that you will see today where we make your shopping a personalized experience where you can actually stand in front of a screen, a camera and a screen with AI embedded in it. And depending on your taste, because the AI engine is learning about you, your gender, your preferences, and what is the event that you're getting dressed up for, you can actually get a designer wear designed by the system. So that's making commerce smart in that sense. And wearables, as an example, when I buy something, whether it's a ring, whether it's a watch, it will allow you to have these seamless experiences. What we call it is friction-free experiences.
Absolutely. And making experience friction-free is the hallmark of a great customer experience. I'm sure there's lots more lined up on that front. But in terms of the opportunity that wearables present, when we talk about this payments revolution that is happening.
What we have seen in developed markets where wearables come into picture, an average consumer who's doing digital transaction does about 7 to 8 times more.
All
right? Now, if I were to just extrapolate that number itself, you're looking at a market, an interaction model, which can be 10 to 15 times more than the interaction models that exist today. So we're talking about trillions of transactions that are possible in the next 10, 15 years once this thing takes off.
All right. Now, in terms of, this experience that you say about, how it's going to make things easier for the average consumer, it looks more like the retailization of experience for everything. How is it going to go to the next level in your opinion, especially when we talk about, Viksit Bharat and new experiences, the broad impact for the average consumer? What's going to be that?
See, I think there is a term I often use. There's a line I often use, which was actually stated by, I heard my CEO say that line once, that if technology cannot be inclusive, it won't scale. And if it won't scale, it won't matter. I think what will happen now is what we've seen globally and in India, that technology has been innovating around use cases that were meant for the uber rich or the middle class, right? What we are seeing a shift happen, where we're using the same technology, same user experience that we've created to be more inclusive. So as an example, we are moving away from making sure there's access to the internet in the rural sector. That's not what's important anymore. Access is already there. We are saying, how do we make people to come and use those technologies? Because at the end of the day, largely today, India is not India that we know. India is Bharat, right? People in the tier 2, tier 3 cities and the villages. Until we don't get to them and they start using the technology that you and I just talked about as part of their everyday life, we are not going to have impact. So in my mind, the next 10, 15 years, starting, it's already started. The focus will be how do we get those people be comfortable with the use of these technologies and make it part of their daily lives.
And what's great is it's not just technology for technology's sake, it's in the service of outcomes, improving outcomes
Absolutely.
for the average consumer, whether it's coming from wearables or whether it's coming from the Mastercard Soundbox. Take us through, what's new there.
Soundboxes have existed in this market for a while now. But those soundboxes were primarily just declaring the fact that you've collected so much money on a UPI transaction or Google Pay transaction, or whatever it may be. What we've done is we've actually embedded contactless as part of the Soundbox. So now consumers have different use cases for which they use different payment methods. So today on a Soundbox system, if I wanted to use a credit card, a tap on a credit card, it was not possible. So what we are doing with this new Soundbox technology is we are enabling contactless taps as well. So now when you do a contactless transaction on that Soundbox, it will still make that same sound that it makes today, saying how much money has been credited, but it'll allow a card to make that transaction. That's one example. Of course, it's got QR embedded in it as part of that. So again, we're giving choice, we're making sure that consumers have all the use cases covered out of it.
And that's what it's all about, giving the consumer the choice that they need to engage in commerce the way they see fit for their use case.
With a lot of trust and security around it.
Shaping India's fintech future, powered by Mastercard, partnered by Money Control.